Good evening, Africa. Good evening, African Confessions. I am back with another episode. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and the message reads like this. Hello, how are you? Can you please post for me? I am a 29-year-old man. I am married, but hey, things are not going well because of what my father did. My story is like this. My father forced me into doing an evil ritual. He told me that I had to do this ritual, and if I did the same ritual that he had done before, he told me that things will work out for me, and he said that is what makes a man when you have done this ritual. One day, my father then asked me to accompany him as usual. Me and my father, we drove. We headed in the direction of this certain area in my country. It is called Mutoko. It was quite a long drive. We then got off the road and we hit the gravel road. Then we continued driving in that gravel road for about 100 kilometers. I kept asking my father where exactly we were going, but my father kept on telling me to drive. He said, "Drive towards where I am directing you. When we are there, I will tell you to stop the car." On our way, we didn't come across people on the gravel road or even houses. It was like we were just driving in the farms. We then got off the car and we walked by foot for about 5 kilometers without coming across anyone. I am pretty sure that the area that we were driving into, it was close to the Zimbabwean-Mozambican border. We only met snakes and scary animals in that bush. Then we arrived at a place where there was an old man who could not see or speak. When we arrived, I was sprayed on my body with some herbs and I was cooked with powerful evil ritual herbs. I don't know how they managed to cook me, but they just instructed me to get into a drum that was in the middle of a burning fire. Then the assistant to that old blind man started cooking me, even though the water that was inside that drum, it was hot and boiling. But when I entered into that drum, I didn't get hurt. I didn't feel any heat. My father told me that the process that they did when they were cooking me, my father told me that the reason why they had to cook me first, it was because I had to be powerful enough so that when the ritual will be performed on me, I will not die. That blind old man then said, "You won't give me anything yet. You will make me just continue with what my dad had started," meaning that I was going to inherit whatever my father had gotten from this old blind man. When we came back home, my father started telling me that I had to sleep with my wife only when she is on her period, and I had to take her used pads to that same witch doctor back in Mutoko. Afterwards, life went on, but it was tough because I loved my wife and I knew that all of these things that I was doing to her, it was something that she didn't want. It was not easy for her. She knew that whenever she was on her period, I was going to force her so that we can have sexual intercourse, and I would also collect her sanitary pads that she had just used. My wife never gave birth, and as we are speaking right now, we don't have any child. My real mother was also sacrificed by my father for wealth. My father told me this when he was telling me all of the rituals that he has performed in his life. My father told me that this other time when he was supposed to perform a certain ritual, that is when he was told that my mother had to be sacrificed so that my father can keep on having all of his wealth. Otherwise, everything that he had acquired, if he didn't sacrifice my mother in time, everything was going to disappear. My father told me that he was also collecting all of my mother's used sanitary pads, and he was giving everything that my mother would have used when she was on her periods to that spirit that was giving him all the wealth that he had. Now, ever since the passing away of my mother, it seems like my father is now losing his mind, because there are days when he runs around, especially when we are at our farm, because later on my father then purchased a farm. Sometimes he stays there at his farm. So when I go to his farm, sometimes he can run around the farm claiming that he is seeing my mother everywhere. I had to make sure that everyone who was working for my father had to stop working, because I was afraid that with the way that my father is now going crazy, maybe everyone can notice that my father is a ritualist, because he used to tell everyone that he had sacrificed our mother. He would even explain all the rituals that he did. Now that I am performing these rituals, I am also being told that I have to sacrifice my own wife the same way that my father did. But to be honest, I don't want to do that. I am not ready for all of that. So when this spirit came to me, and when it told me that I had to sacrifice my own wife, when I refused to let my wife die, one morning I just woke up and I had a very big wound. This wound, it starts from my neck going to my waist. This wound doesn't hurt at all, but it produces a very strange and a strong smell, and it produces a lot of water. I don't know what to do anymore. Can you find me someone who can help me? Because I have suffered and I don't want my wife to die. I also don't want to die. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was forwarded to me from another platform. They asked me to share this confession with you guys. So that one was a translation, hoping that you were able to understand the translation. Quite a strange story, quite a strange story.